What's going on, everyone? This is Sherry, and you are tuned into She Said What She Said, the podcast where we interview badass women in the sports world and beyond. And this is our second week back from my very long break. And so now, you guys, I do have a permanent co-host. I had to work on an intro. That's going to be my homework assignment. So I'll be working on an intro for her. But for right now, I'm just going to bring her in. Hey, Pedro. I just realized, I was like, I need to get like a little boom.
We'll figure it out.
Yeah. So that will be my homework assignment for next week.
Perfect.
How'd you feel after doing your first show?
Oh man, I was pretty excited. Well, I guess excited isn't the word. I was like super pumped and really happy just being able to getting some feedback from some people. And I don't know, I'm just like really excited about this. I think Wednesdays are a great day because it's middle of the week. And like we were just talking about, it's like Sunday, Monday, Tuesday kind of like gets there. And then you're like, okay, it's Sunday again. So Wednesday's a perfect day. And and I love where the trajectory is going now with getting the different, guests that we're going to have. And my mind has just been like reeling with so many different ideas.
Love it. I love your energy. I love your
your
vision. So
me too. Yours as well.
Yay. So tonight we're going to talk about the one thing that brings us and our guests together. And I'm wearing the shirt. UltiFit. Hey.
All right.
So if anyone
good old UltiFit
not follow us on Instagram, UltiFit is the adult fitness classes that are associated with the Ultimate Ninja gyms in Chicago and the surrounding area. Like I got into Ninja because it helps with the obstacle course racing. We talked about why you got into Ninja.
Yeah.
So I'm actually not sure why our guest tonight got into Ninja because she had
we will find out
going on. So our guest tonight is one of my fellow coaches, our head coach at our Chicago location. She is an absolute badass. She competes in a sport that I actually didn't even know that was a sport you could compete in, stand up paddleboarding. And man, y'all, it's not, okay. I do like paddleboard for me is like a nice leisurely time on my parents' lake. I might do some yoga on it. I might like have like bring the dog on the paddle, have a little bit. No, this chick is out there in the cold all time here in a wetsuit, and she is racing. She is racing everywhere from what was that, the 800-meter one, where she's running in and jumping on and going on this, all the way up to, I mean, she does the multi-day ones. I know she's on like the Des Plaines Marathon. It's like 18 miles. Like how many?
Just paddling along and not falling off. Like that what gets me. It's like
most men at this. It's incredible. So like this is her main sport. The paddleboarding is the main sport. If anyone's part of the Chicago paddleboarding community, she is. She runs the Chicago SUP Racing Team. She's an UltiFit coach, so she teaches Ninja. She also dabbles her toe in competing in Ninja because, I mean, why not?
That's the deal.
She works at Brooklyn Boulders too, so she's a climber. She does programming there. I think she has a full-time job. Not sure when she does that. It's going to get in there at some point. And one of her goals, what's up, T Nick? One of her goals this year is she's going to be doing 100 laches a month, guys. Every month, 100 laches.
Yeah.
A lache is when you jump from one bar to another bar. Just 100 in a month.
Please come see me for a massage when your shoulders are just not having it anymore. Like, come see me.
My God. She did it the other day when I was in the gym. She's like, I just need to get to the last 8 of them or whatever it was. And it was like,
amazing.
This one wasn't the best. I'm like, they all look fucking amazing, girl.
Right.
So without further ado, let's bring in Miss Coach Kirsten.
Hey, Kirsten.
Hey. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for
being on.
This is the thing that the boat brings us all together. So you guys,
Yes. I almost wore the shirt, but then
I know. I didn't even. I totally wasn't even thinking about it. So yeah, we need to like communicate about our.
I know, right? It should have been like, guys, we're an UltiFit shirt. It would have been fun.
Yeah, funny. So Kirsten, so we kind of like went through and like talked about you getting into UltiFit and like the SUP. Give us a little bit of background of like, you know, what your like. I think one of the things that Sherry likes to start with is kind of your background, like you're growing up, a little bit about that, and then coming here to Chicago because you didn't grow up here.
The origin story.
The origin story.
Superhero origin story.
Yes, exactly.
So that starts like in northern Germany in a very small town called Bornhöved. That's where I grew up. And in 2004, right after I graduated from college in civil engineering, I decided I wanted to spend a year in the United States, just see what it's like, do an internship. 20 years later, I'm still here. It's going to be actually my 20-year
internship go.
I think it went pretty well, I would say. It's actually going to be my 20-year anniversary in the US on February 7th. So coming up in a few days.
Congratulations.
Yeah. So I started working here in construction materials testing, like being out on the job site, pushing wheelbarrows with concrete, taking samples, and all that stuff. And then fitness came, it was always part of my life in a way, but pretty much in 2010, 2012 is when I got my first certification and just kind of went for it and did it on the side.
What was the certification?
Yeah.
I started with posture alignment therapy, the CE method.
Oh, this makes so much
sense
of why you always are into the mobility and this. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So actually, way before that, I was like taking voice lessons. I was in a band, and it's a whole other story. But my voice teacher basically told me, "You have poor posture, and if you can't stand up straight, you can't sing properly, and you should read this book." And then I read the book about posture alignment, got certified in it, got really interested in fitness, and I got my ACE certificate, American Council on Exercise. Then I got my NSCA certified strength and conditioning specialist. So it just kind of went on, like I just kind of built up certificates just out of interest. And for a long time, I couldn't work in fitness because I didn't have my green card yet. I was on a work visa, and that only allows you to work in your main job. So I was training friends out of my living room for free, and just kept learning and.
Were you like an athlete growing up? Like, did you participate in organized sports or?
No, my sport was horseback riding. That's what I did growing up, like all the time.
I love it.
I loved it. I had my own horse at some point.
What kind of riding did you do?
I started English, like most of it is in Germany, is English riding. And then I got into Western riding.
Okay.
Yeah.
So fun.
But I was never really an athlete. I was actually...
horseback riding is athletic. Let's not.
Right.
I
grew up.
I grew up around horses my whole life, and I've done English and Western, and it is an athletic sport. Don't sell yourself short, girlfriend. It is pretty athletic. You got some strong thighs, let me tell you. I'm not saying
forearms too.
Yes. No, but I was getting at was like in school, like I really wasn't the cool kid. I was definitely the one you selected on the team last, and was bullied for many years. Was very shy. Did definitely not trust myself in anything athletic.
Interesting.
That wasn't until I got into paddleboarding that I was really competing in like anything.
So how did you find? I mean, obviously you had said earlier that you were in Milwaukee, you came here to Chicago. So paddleboarding, okay, I see. I've done it, and and you and I've talked a lot about that before, and I never get out with you, and I'm sorry, but I'm always like, yes, and then I hurt myself. But how did you get into paddleboarding in the summer, and then how do you transition that into the winter to make that a full year-on sport? Because girl.
Yeah, how did you get into that?
Yeah, I definitely started in summer, just like anyone, right? So. I took a class on Hollywood Beach at the time. And yeah, I just loved it. After 5 times on a paddleboard, I got talked into do my first race. It was like a half-mile race at Montrose Beach, and I won it. I was like, and somebody said to me, and like, I think you could be really good in this sport. And I was like, let me be good like in any sport, really. And so this kind of just stuck with me. And then I just, got to know the community around the sport, which is really strong, especially in the Midwest. And felt very welcome, and just went from there. And then you meet people who are like, yeah, we actually paddle in winter, and you could do that too. And like, you just get a dry suit, and then just there you go.
Do you find that so you were saying that you didn't grow up being an athlete per se. You had something like you did horses. Something that I think resonates with a lot of people is like, we're not always good at, like, I hear a lot, especially going into the UltiFit community, is that I can't do that. Like, they look at the obstacles, they see the things. So can you explain and kind of describe the feeling when you were told the first time that, like, I think you'd be really good at this? Because I feel like that's really important when it comes to us doing anything in any capacity in any genre of life. It's like, we don't think really much about stuff. We just get into things because it might be fun. And then someone's like, oh, you might be good at this. So how did that make you feel as far as like making this transition into now what you do I would say it's professionally. You've been doing it many years. So how did that make you feel when like someone actually really showed interest and like said that you could do this?
Yeah, really good, obviously, right? That somebody sees us and you're like, really? Like, and that's something I want to like give to people, to clients. I usually connect very well with clients who are maybe a little bit shy, maybe don't think they can do it, and just to like help somebody to see that it is possible, And I have one client, she might be listening to this right now, who told me like, I never considered myself an athlete, and then we started working together, and she just did some races, and she's like, whoa, like I can actually call myself an athlete. And just that concept is so foreign to somebody, it's kind of sad, because if you move in your body on purpose, you're an athlete in my mind now. But I didn't see it that way myself either when I was younger,
That's a great way of putting it. And because we see athletes as like, you're winning stuff. You're Sherry. You're going out, you're doing all the things and like winning things and but you're right. Athletes come in not so like the big stuff, but it's like
there's more than just the different. I mean,
competing, right? It's not just competing.
Yeah. So that's awesome. And how did you? So you're paddleboarding. You're then you got in. So was that your first sport here, and then you got into the climbing, and then into UltiFit?
Yeah. Where did I did come from?
But I wonder sometimes. I don't do a whole lot. I have to say, I don't do a whole lot of climbing. I work for Brooklyn Boulders, but mostly as a personal trainer. So mostly the fitness
that's right.
of things. So I climb every now and then, but I prefer to save my energy for ninja usually. So I mean, throughout my life, I've been doing different sports. I've definitely been dabbling in a lot of different things. From like inline skating was a big one. When I first moved to Chicago, I started Windy City Skaters. It's a group that's still around.
Really?
Yeah, I know that. Drew.
Snowboarding. I got really into snowboarding for a while. We would head up to Wisconsin every weekend, pretty much, with a group, and do that. Then I got a little bit into cyclocross for a little while. Didn't really connect with the cycling community all that well. So got back out of it. And then paddling is probably what stuck like the longest. That's been 10 years, and then ninja as well. Right?
You said something about connecting with the community, and that is, especially as an adult, I mean, that's so important, right? Like, you don't want to just like, part of the reason why I joined like ambassadors of Spartan races, because I don't want to just go and show up to a race, run it, and then leave, right? Like, there's more to the sport, right? It's all about the camaraderie, the people that you meet. And so it's you know, I like how you
100%.
said that, right? Because it's, you know, at the end of the day, I mean, we'll kind of remember the results of races and this and that, but like what actually resonates with you is it's the friends you make along the way, right?
Yeah.
but
the
a big part of
experience
it
together.
is,
yeah. Like after the race is usually, you know, the best part when you like talk about like how horrible it was or how great it went.
Yeah.
Thinking about last weekend.
Oh, that's right.
And
The competition last weekend.
The traveling together with your friends to races and the planning and the trips and all the things around it. It's not just the moment you're on a podium, maybe. It's definitely not it.
Yeah.
Do you have? Go ahead.
Oh no, I was gonna say, you know, at the end of the day, no one I don't want to say no one cares who makes a podium, right? But like, you're not going to not be friends with someone because they missed the podium or because they make it, you know, that's just one like small piece of what actually goes into, you know, the friendships and that community that comes along with it, for sure.
Right. Yeah. Do you think that, so obviously with all this, you're doing, and you know, I remember, so little backstory, we just talked about this. So I met Kirsten in 2017 when her first UltiFit. I don't think I was coaching at that point in time. I think we were just both taking classes together, and super impressed by just like your go-getting. And so I think over the last, 5-6 years now, you know, you've done a lot of different things and have gone through a lot of challenges, whether it's injury, whether it's just like dealing with like your own stuff that you got to deal with, work, like you've gone through a lot. So how do you feel that you're like the challenges, the difficulties? Because when in Ninja Warrior stuff, you know, we're not 20 or 15 or 12 or 7. So we're kind of at a point here where we're going to get better at things, but there's a limit and we understand that. But you know, 5-6 years ago, even, you're getting into that mindset. And I'm kind of talking more about even the obstacle stuff where it's like you're trying to get better. And I know that there was a lot of things that there were struggles. So can you talk a little bit about your struggles, how you got through that, where your mindset was, how you get past that, and where you kind of like, where you get your oomph to like move forward with the struggles? Because I think that, you know, it's hard for people sometimes. They like try stuff and they're like, oh, that wasn't good. And I know me from that wasn't perfect. I'm not going to try it again. So, like, where do you get that, that self-talk, that positive self-talk to like keep going?
Ninja, for me, obstacles do not come easy to me. I definitely have to try them a lot of times before I get them. And for me to get my first like 4-foot, 5-foot, 6-foot laches, that was quite the struggle.
I remember.
But yeah, where does that come from? I mean, first of all, I just love fitness. So I just love movement. And for me, giving up is usually not an option. And I feel like growing up, it was always like I mentioned, I was bullied in school. People never told, like people told me you can't run, you're not athletic, and your legs are crooked, and all the ugly stuff. And for a long time, it was just like, I'm going to show you. It was just like, I'm going to do it anyway. I'm going to show you. And that motivation works for a while, but it's not really helping yourself, I guess, because you're not really doing it for yourself in that moment. And then like a few years ago, I feel like I felt that shifting where I was more doing it for me because I love learning movement. I love to advance and try new obstacles, try new things, and just kind of see how far I can take it, like for myself, for nobody else. And so that was a bit of a shift. Yeah.
And that's one thing, Kirsten, that I really admire about you for you know, I mean, I haven't known you as long as Phaedra has, but you're competitive, but I always feel like you're competitive most with yourself. You know, you know, it's just like a nice, because you're still coaching, right? You want people to beat you, but you wanted them to beat you at their best. You don't want to like, beat someone because they got injured. You know what I mean? Like I feel I get that kind of vibe from you.
Yeah. I mean, I get competitive, and I fight. I want to be on the podium for sure.
Don't lie.
I was just like, it's a funny story.
It's always fun competing against Kirsten.
I bet.
I was on a flight for Christmas, going to see my mom, and it was Southwest Airlines, and they had this like Christmas competition where you had to like guess songs from little pictures. And I was getting so into it. I was like texting my sister, like, what is this? I gotta figure this out. I was like, you're on a plane. You're supposed to like, you're not competitive right now. But it happens.
Where did that competitive, I mean, especially growing up, and how you said, where does that competitiveness come from at this point in time?
No, like maybe growing up with 4 siblings. And you always have to compete.
You have 4. Okay. How do you fit with those siblings?
I'm in the middle. Yeah.
For sure. Oh yeah.
And I remember like we would take our heights
fighting
on the door, right? They would make marks who's like how tall you are. And my sister and she would always like, no, I'm taller than you. No, I'm taller than you. Until I was definitely taller, and she kind of.
You're pretty tall, so.
Yeah.
So maybe that's where it comes from. I don't know, but
that's great.
Mostly, yeah.
And what made you like that very first day in, was it 2017, even go to a ninja class? Like, where did that? You know what I mean? It's I don't want to say it's a random sport, but like, where did that come from?
It is.
So I was going through a breakup. Sort of. I was seeing this guy who was just like not working out. I was like really, really upset. And I just needed to find something new. And that's usually what I do when I go through like a breakup or some difficult thing. Just try something new. And it happened to be that I was at my chiropractor, and he was like limping in. He tore his Achilles. And I asked him like, how do you do that? He's like, I went to this like ninja gym with my kids. And then I tried to warp wall, and I tore my Achilles. Like, where is that place? And I think for the longest time we had a sign next to the warp wall at the old Chicago gym, adults don't try, or something like that. And that was because of him, supposedly. So that's how I found it, and just kind of Googled it and saw that they had a week free, first week for free, because they just started, Brian and Tori just started the gym. And I went and never looked back.
Love it.
Yeah, you've been killing it ever since. Like, you are very it's so funny because I feel like throughout these last years, one of us is always like injured at some point in time, because like we won't be at classes or like whatever. And so was it in 21 that Chicago location burned
down?
Was it 20
February of
February is 21 or 22?
22.
Yeah, because
22.
we restarted the new gym now in December 22 is when we
so
I think it was early 22.
So I just remember like over the last years there was always like whatever, and I always found Kirsten to be that one person, like, because we were always just like in class together, whatever, and it was always so fun, like being able to do the class with you, to like do like, especially like ninja versus ninja or like whatever it was. And there'd be some times when we just come in and like, whether it was my hip or my knee or whatever it was, and then you started coaching, and kind of circling back to what you had said before about how you, and we'll just, for all intent and purpose, we'll call them like the underdogs, right? The individuals that come to class, maybe not like finding it because their kid was there, and they may not find themselves athletic. So they start with the GPT, which is group personal training, which is no obstacles. And then they kind of like, you know what? I want to play. I want to like I'm going to try some stuff. And so I find it like really cool that you're able to bond and kind of be able to talk and understand how they're feeling at the moment. And I think that makes you an amazing coach to be, to then pump them up in a way and talk to them as you might have been or actually were talked to in your journey of fitness.
Yeah.
So that's really important.
There she comes.
Okay, she's back.
You're back.
You're back.
Oh, okay, good. I was worried there for a moment. Yeah. Well, so you said, like, how you talk as a coach to people who are maybe a little bit discouraged to try it. Yeah.
One thing that I always tell people, especially new people in Ninja, is that if you don't fall, you're not trying hard enough. Because like anytime that I'm doing Ninja, anytime I'm rock climbing, I will mess up at some point. I will fall.
Always.
We watch the elite people, they fall all the time. So if I do a whole workout and I've completed everything and I have never fallen, that means I didn't challenge myself enough.
Yeah. I do that in paddleboarding. I always tell people you got to jump in and then make it a fun way. Like, let's all jump in together. Let's take a video.
Yeah, I don't like jumping in.
Yeah. Well,
I won't be jumping in the winter.
Weather is. Yeah. Do you guys jump in when it's cold?
Sometimes, and it dries out just for the fun of it.
I've seen it. I follow you, and I'm
Christmas
like,
yeah.
That's exactly what I'm talking about.
Christmas time. What's wrong with you?
So yes, we talk about me being weird at 4 a.m. She's like out on the water in the winter,
Sunrise.
and she's breaking ice to jump in.
To be honest, I haven't been out this year yet, which is crazy. But it's been frozen.
Pretty cold. So
yeah, it was completely
frozen.
We're not gonna hold it against you, girl.
Yeah, no.
And we go late in the year, but yeah.
Yeah, so you haven't just competed like locally. You've gone and done these like multi-day races in, I believe it's Netherlands that you've done a bunch of times. Maybe because you're from Europe, you just wanted to go visit home, but like what kind of made you go from just local to like expanding, and you do like your half mile to like these multi-day, you got your ultras and all that, like what's wrong with you, girl?
I don't know. I just started racing in the Midwest. There are a bunch of local races, and for a while I had a winning streak. For like 2 years, I won every race, and then it gets kind of, I don't want to say boring, but you definitely want to see what else can I do.
Absolutely.
It always been like a goal to race in Europe, because that's obviously where I grew up, and it's called the SUP 11 City Tour. So back in the days, I used to have an ice skating race over all those canals in the Netherlands. And because it's not cold enough anymore, they haven't been able to do it again. But it turned into a stand-up paddleboard race, and they've been doing this for several years now. And so it is 5 days, 137 miles. So you're on the water about 5 to 7 hours a day, pretty much. And at night you sleep on one of those historic sailboats that follow you. So when you get to the finish line, your boat is there, and it's incredible, and it's so well organized, and people from all over the world. So I did it the first time in 2019. So that was just a big goal, to just like go there, do it, and just see if my body can even like do that. And then living in close quarters with so many people on the boat, it was just like, can I still do that? Like, I'm not 20 anymore. And it was such a great experience. But I did it 2 more times. Placed top 5 each time, and
amazing.
Was it last year that you did it, or the year before?
22 was the last time.
Okay, so 22. Yeah. Okay. What is time, guys?
Yeah, I know, right?
Seriously.
So, and then I decided to shift focus after. So I did ultras for like 3 years. And then I shifted focus to get more into sprint and technical racing now.
So is that considered an ultra? I hope that's considered an ultra.
It's considered an ultra. It used to be the hardest race there was in paddleboarding. Now there are like crazier things than that. But yeah, it is one of the bigger ones. And there's one in Tennessee, Chatterjack, that's 30 miles in 1 day. I've done that a couple of times.
Wow.
And but then I did that, kind of prove to myself that I can do it. And then it was more like, let's go on to someone else. And also the ultras are so hard on your body to recover from, especially if you train like that all year round. And then I felt I was never a perfect match with Ninja, because Ninja is just like power and quick versus like long, slow endurance. And so now I feel like having shifted more to sprinting, it's a better match to train for. Yeah.
And you just competed the one where you did the 800-meter one which was a really
200.
cool video. Was that California?
Yeah, that was the
that
USA
was
SUP
super
National
cool.
Championships in California.
Was
It
that
was a
your
200
first
meter sprint.
Yeah,
that was my first.
because like running into talk about that competition. That one looked pretty fun.
That was such a cool competition. That was the first time they did it, and so it's started on Friday with 200 meter sprints, and then Saturday we had a distance race or 6 miles, like a 10K, and then Sunday we had a technical race. That's where you like go out, turn around a number of buoys, and you always like 5-6 other people, so it gets pretty messy, right? And so there was 3 days, and it was such a great event. Like again, you were hanging out on the beach all day with all these people and got to compete in different heats, and it was great.
And of course she was on podiums in I think every event.
I came in second on the distance and third on the technical.
Oh, you missed a podium?
Yeah, I did. My sprint, on the first heat, I came in second and advanced straight to the finals. But then in the finals, I just kind of didn't out of energy. Yeah.
Didn't you hit your toe or something on a board or?
Yeah, on the last race.
Weird.
Yeah, I don't even know how I did that. The way it is, you take your board, you run into the water from the beach and jump on your board and go. And as I was jumping on my board, I must have somehow hit my pinky toe, and it's still swollen. I thought it was just in September. The doctor told me it stays swollen for a long time. It's not broken. They did X-ray.
That's good.
It was kind of how do you do that? When you go to the doctor and you have to explain how that happened. Yeah.
That looked pretty fun. And then next month, March. What month is month?
Tomorrow's February 1st.
Jesus, I know. Oh, sorry. Yeah, is it next? Yeah, end of next month. You're going down and doing some craziness in Mexico too.
Yeah, I'm going to. It's a training camp. It's a whole week in Sayulita, Mexico, and I'm at the end of that week. There's a big race. It's a technical distance. Yeah. So doing that.
So you do by trade an engine. Did you say engineering, your work, right? Okay. So that's very technical and all the things. I work with some engineers. So you're that brained. So when it comes to, and I don't know, Sherry, have you ever paddleboarded before? Well, yeah, you said you did the yoga and the things.
Not
like this. No, we do it for leisure. We're leisurely sucks. So how is it stand up? How do you incorporate how you think when it comes to what your business? People just don't go into engineering. You have to have a specific kind of brain for engineering. So how do you incorporate the brain to the stand-up paddleboarding and also the obstacles? Because I think that actually works. All that stuff works hand in hand.
100%. Yeah.
Yeah. So can you take us through how you think? Because it's not just an athletic standpoint. That's a whole different way of thinking.
Yeah. Yeah, there's definitely the athletic part, which is just your endurance, your VO2 max, and all these fun things. But then when it comes to the paddle stroke, you can get really technical about it. How do I angle my blade? How do I use my body? Which muscles am I engaging? And then not even to talk about board shapes and all this. And
that's important though. That stuff is kind of none of us that are just I'm strong, I can do it. We don't think about it that way. We're just we're just gonna go out and muscle through it. But you have it you think differently, and that's kind of cool to understand that.
Yeah,
there's a completely different way to think about it.
That's one of the reasons I take so many videos. Well, the other reason is Instagram, but
for the gram, for sure.
Right. Look at my stroke. Look at my laches. What am I doing? Where is my hand? What could I change on that? And it gets quite interesting. And there are fortunately a few other paddlers in the world who have that kind of mindset where you can learn and read up on it.
Is that normal? In competitive SUP to be thinking of the angle of your stroke and the angle of that? Is that normal or is that just
100%. There's a lot that goes into it, just like any sport.
And is that newer? Has that evolved more in the past, few years of really the technicalities of it?
And I think it's still such a young sport that it's still evolving.
Yeah.
Like every now and then somebody does something completely different. Everyone's like, whoa, I didn't think that would be a good idea. Like when we started pedaling like 10, 15, 20 years ago, the paddles were like super long, like way above your head. And then Connor Baxter, one of the like really strong paddlers, like started having this choke stroke where he just grabs the paddle lower and like was a really fast guy. He's like the fastest in the world. And everyone's like, wait a second. So then the paddles went shorter and shorter and shorter. And yeah, so things like that they're still figuring out, I feel like. And board shapes change. Yeah.
Oh, the board, because if you think about like one of the wildest things you ever think about in track and field, the high jump, people used to jump forward.
Yeah.
And the first guy that was like, I'm going to go backwards. And people were like, what in God's name are you doing? But then when they switched it, all like the world, everything just started shooting up and up and up because of like this one massive technique change.
Yeah.
So yeah, so you talk about the long handle to the short. People like, what's wrong with you? To like, well,
and then different body types. You know, need different technique too. Not everybody has the same.
With long legs, short, because you're
tall. So I feel like that's going to give you a very good advantage, right? Because your stroke length is going to be a lot longer than like someone little mini arms, like me.
But also using my legs, you know, like springs almost. Right? So I have to bend my knees probably a little bit more than. It's the same when you're like thinking about. You're thinking about lifting, right? Not everybody lifts the same way in a deadlift or in a squat.
Right, yeah.
We have different mechanics, right? So, yeah.
So like when you, so when we think about like sports and we think of like the GOAT of certain sports, like when you think of like SUP, who do you like, who is kind of like aside from you, because you're amazing, but who do you think of, like, who do you look up to in this sport and who do you kind of like, you're getting ideas from, or who are you just like striving or to be?
There are so many good ones, but there
are.
I can think about right now. Seychelle Williams, she's from Florida. She was actually also competing in that race I just did at the USA SUP in September in California. She is so strong. She's just one of the fastest sprinters in the world right now, and so she's
and what makes if you can explain, like, what makes that like so fast, so strong, like what goes into that like ability to do that? What makes her so good?
I think definitely a lot of determination and consistency with her training, like not just focusing on the paddling, but nutrition and everything around it. Technique, endurance, you know, that's like any sport, right? It's not just one thing that you do. Right. It's like every little decision you make in your life, you know. Yeah.
Interesting. Well, that's good. Good to know that. Very cool.
That's what's SUP. Hey,
oh, this is my sister, Danielle.
We have our first pun.
she's really good at those. And
I love it. I love a good
Danielle.
Pun.
Making me laugh. That was pretty good.
I know, right now.
That was perfect timing.
Please greet your racers like that now, please.
Yeah, we've overused that phrase. I work for Chicago SUP, and like every post we make, I feel it's like, come down to the beach and see what's up.
Exactly. So what kind of what would you say, what kind of advice would you have? Because people, I know I look at, like, I've never done yoga on a stand-up paddleboard, but what would you, what's like first time advice? Like when you have a group of men and women or people that come out and they're just like, we're going to get on here and we're going to be great. So what is like the first steps of getting onto a paddleboard? What can we expect when we get on a paddleboard? Like what's kind of like, how do you kind of start your teaching?
I would say definitely take a lesson. Don't just think you can figure it out, because, you know, you really got to respect the water and got to respect the lake and safety, and definitely do it on a calm day, because if it's, you know, Lake Michigan gets really choppy and windy. And I always hate when people tell me like, yeah, I've tried it once before and it was horrible because I just got like pushed out. And it's probably not the best day for a beginner, right? So go in the harbor, you know, go in the lagoon, start on a wide board. You know, when we were racing, we were on like 24, 22, like really narrow fast boards. But like as a beginner, you're like 32 or more even. And so definitely do that.
The leisure board.
Yeah. And you should know how to swim. It's surprising. We still have people show up who are like, yeah, I can't swim. Can I still paddle? It's a water sport. Like, you should probably be able to swim.
I mean, honestly, that's really great advice, because I feel like we as people like try to do things and it's like, you might want to, it seems very like
one first.
Step one, know how to swim. So that's a good step.
Stay afloat. I mean, you don't have to be, great swimmer, but just be able to.
You
wear life vests when you start.
Because we have the vest on.
You still don't want to be out there panicking.
But when you fall,
you have to be, because if you fall, you're most likely not going to be prepared. So you need to not panic and do something stupid.
And then learn to get back on the board. I always like it when people fall the first day, because then we can show them how to get back on. And then most of the time, tell you
and not drop your paddle so it goes to the bottom of the lake.
They usually float.
Mine, I've dropped while I was in California. Mine dropped and didn't have a paddle.
We have this diver at North Avenue B2 that goes out and he looks for things that we lose. He's quite determined.
Gets new paddles every year.
But I teach a class. It's called Camp SUP. It's a 4-week course. Starts every month, June, July, August. And so the idea is people stay together as a group for 4 weeks. We go through all the basics. We start easy, slow on the harbor, and then maybe go into a little bit more waves on the lake, depending on people's skill level. And that's been, I've started teaching that in 2020, and it's been every year. It's been our most popular class, and it's great.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's really great.
What other, and I know you're going down to Mexico, etc., for your little rendezvous, but do you have a race schedule yet for this year on what, like, certain events you want to focus on?
It's still in development. I know there are a couple of big races at the end of the year. The ICF championships in Sarasota in November. Then there's the USA SUP in September in Hilton Head Island. I've never been.
Oh,
so every
nice.
year, I've always tried to go to races that I haven't done, like to keep it fresh. If you go to the same place, you're always expecting it's like as awesome as it was the first time, but it's always going to be a bit of a letdown if you do it multiple times. So I always try to do new things. And then I might actually get a little bit more into OCR too.
We were all talking about, I think we're all going to be doing some races together now. I think we're all going to be getting into
Someone's got a bad influence.
She's making me do
because you're doing the DEKA, right?
Doing the DEKA Strong with me.
DEKA Strong.
I'll say next month, this month, in like 20 days.
Yeah. She was like last week. She was like, "Oh, by the way, on like the 18th," and I was like, "Nah, girl, I have not been."
I don't even know what all the.
I'm not jumping into it yet. But maybe December or January will be the next. I'm gonna do what is it, December, whatever the next one is in the winter. But I don't want to think about winter.
There'll be many before then.
I'm doing
that one
it.
Was like last weekend. That snow one.
You did.
Oh, girl, let's talk about that. Please, let's talk about this insane, why? Like, what?
I don't know. Somebody mentioned it. Brian, I think it was.
Oh my God. I looked at your pictures and I'm like, why are you so cold and why did you?
Because I think like cold weather, like I'm used to. It's like, okay, I'm used to
You are, and you're from Germany, so I can see that.
That was fine. And I thought, okay, I'm somewhat used to obstacles. I hadn't run in like 2 or 3 years because I had an Achilles issue. So I literally started running again, I want to say like a month and a half ago. And then did this 10K, 25 obstacles. And it was a good experience. I mean, there were definitely 4 or 5 obstacles where I just had to say like, no. Like I attempted, it's so slippery. And a couple I just looked at, I'm like, this is kind of sort of dangerous. Like, no, it's not. But just like, it was beautiful, like out like running through that little forest, and I was most of the time hanging with Leah, who's like one of our clients at UltiFit. And
she did it as well. Nice.
She did great. Like, so
amazing.
Yeah.
So doing these like new things, like all these different fun, exciting, challenging things. Can you give us a little bit of your, like, how this makes you feel like as a woman going out there and doing things that, like, okay, so I hate the cold and I'm being like a total whatever you want to call it, but I'm like, ugh, I don't know what to do. I barely like want to ski, but I'm like very covered. So things like this. What is driving you to want to do these super intense, challenging things? And as a woman, being able to finish and just be this like amazing inspiration, motivation for people, your clients, just all of us in the community. Can you just like give yourself some love and tell us like how amazing it makes you feel?
I mean, yeah, it definitely makes you feel strong and capable. I've never tried to make a difference, like being a woman. Like I've never really let that stop me. Like I'm working in construction. People have always asked me, like, is it harder as a woman? I'm like, I don't really think so. It depends on your personality, not on your gender, really. And yeah, and then part of it was, like I said, kind of proving others wrong. Like I can do it. That was for quite a while, but now it's more. Some of it is proving it to myself. I'm 46 now. Like, yeah, I can still do it. Like, I'm not gonna stop. And then the other part is just that I love it. I love how it makes me feel. Like after the race, just to be feeling accomplished and lifts you up. And then doing it with other people, like community, and just it makes you feel like accepted, like part of something in a way. Yeah.
100 laches a month.
Hopefully.
Why? How? What was going through your mind? When did we make this?
I don't even know. Like I think last year I just decided just randomly I'm just gonna count them, and then I've lost count in January. I'm like, damn it. So this is what time I actually made a spreadsheet and I keep track of them. Yeah, then
she's organized too.
Sort of. Laches, I always say, are the worst and the best thing that ever happened to me, because they're so fun when you get them. They're so like instant reward. Like you catch a bar and you're like, yeah. You don't, and you're like, this sucks. I want to try it again until your hands bleed, or I don't know. So it's just I want to get better at them, go further, better technique, and maybe link a few at the end of the year. Who knows? Link. But
you look like you're on your way.
She came into the gym wearing these little hot shorts, looking all hot body. I was like, oh, hey, girl. She's like, yeah, I'm just finishing my 100 laches of the month. Deal. Like,
nice to see so much of you.
I was like, I'm sorry, how many?
But I mean, they're pretty quick, and I spend enough time at the gym, even just coaching. You can do a few between classes.
Yeah.
I do them now, unfortunately. I do them at other gyms too, and you get kind of funny looks, like when I go to movement and they have like 2 bars that kind of work. You're in between like people who do this normal things. Sorry, gotta get a
jump from there to there. I love it. So this year we have the 100 laches a month. No big deal. We're now we are entered in a DEKA competition, so we're obviously doing some DEKA items. We have our SUP competitions. Any other like big challenges for 2024 that you're hiding from us, that you're just gonna like spring on us? Like, are you climbing a mountain? Is there something else we should know about?
You never know. Something might come up. Sometimes I try to be somewhat spontaneous if I see like a race that interests me. I'm doing a little ninja competition this weekend. Visiting my sister in Houston. And
which one is it?
It's in Houston. It's a UNA.
Houston.
Oh, the UNA. Yeah.
Because
that'll be a good one.
And I always like to combine trips with if there's a competition or something. She does the same thing. She only comes here when there's a marathon. And I'm looking into more OCR.
More OCR. Will you be doing more ninja comps, or just a few here and there?
Maybe.
Or do you want to focus a little bit more on ninja?
Yeah, just for myself, not necessarily so many comps, because they can get extremely frustrating. Because it's such high skill that's required. Like I said, I always need multiple attempts to figure out an obstacle. And in ninja comp, you don't have that luxury. And it gets kind of pricey too. And I get nervous. Like I literally the day before, I'm thinking about it all the time. And I feel like it takes energy away from other things if you get so nervous about something that's really not that important. Yeah.
That's very
I always
self-aware of you.
Yeah.
I try. I always said like ninja is someone I just kind of want for myself, not necessarily to compete, but every now and then I can't help it. But yeah.
Yeah,
You know,
that's
it can get, it's interesting how you say that beforehand.
Mhm.
So like Spartan has actually, fortunately, they've redone how they do competitive heats this year, which I really like, because the way it was before, it was like you either enter in elite or you enter in age group. And I realized that like one of my last age group race of the year in Nashville, like I wasn't nervous at all before I started. And like I knew I had won with like a mile left in the race. And so it's almost like anticlimactic, you know what I mean? When you like win, because you're like, oh, well, I knew I was going to win a while ago. So, you know, no big deal. But now they've like scrambled it. So it's like then the next race, like I entered in elite, but within like a mile in, I knew I was like, okay, I'm getting third. Because like I bashed my finger, it's still getting swollen.
Oh no.
For months later, like anytime like the day after I do ninja or climb, it's like, but I have to go to some finger specialist and I really don't want to.
Oh no.
Because they're gonna tell me I can't do things. It's broken, I'm sure. But yeah, it's like, but they changed it. So now all competitive heats go, it's by pace time now instead. And so you actually don't know where your competition is. So my competition could have gone before me. My competition could be behind me. And I like, some people don't like that, but I really like that because I love better to compete with myself. And it's like boring if I know my competition's back there or if they're up there. I'm like, I've been on both, you know what I mean, sides of it. So, but yeah, it is, you know, when you talk about like nerves or like, you know, what gets you going, and it was like, oh, like when I first heard that, I was like, that's going to be really fucking awesome. Like,
I would prefer that. I had a few races where you start in race even on the water, where you're like, I have no idea, the person might be in a different wave. And because I get like, if I see somebody passing me, I get like frustrated. And or the other way around, if you're like ahead, you're like, you're kind of slacking off because you're like, oh, I'm fine.
At the end, it's like, you know, you just kind of like, well, you know, blah, blah, blah. Like, I'm here, no one else is near me, you know what I mean? And but like, I really love because again, like I love to be on podiums, you know, but I
think we all
like that. Right. But it's like, instead of, I don't want to necessarily like watch you the whole time. Like I like competing, having no idea. So that means I have to like be on my A game every second. And it just makes it more, I don't know, more exciting to me. Like when I found that out, or like, I don't know where my competition is.
Right.
And then it's like, and even other women that might be, you know, in my heat, like, I don't know their age group, you know what I mean? They could be in their 20s, they could be in their 30s, they could be, you know, like late 40s. So unless I know them, you know, and recognize them. So it's like, oh, it's kind of fun for me. When I announced it, I would definitely felt like more like, I don't say invigorated, but I was like, okay. Like, you know, it's kind of exciting because it's like, not to say like, you know, you go to, but some of the smaller, you know, regional Spartan races where there aren't as many like top competitors, it's not like, oh, am I going to make the podium? It's like, oh, well, what, you know, am I going to get first? Or well, I never get second. Am I going to get first? I'm going to get third. You know what I mean? So I like having the, just kind of the overall thing. So that excites me on it. And then we can start getting you guys out there too.
Yeah.
For the fun run. For the fun
runs. Yeah, for sure. I agree.
Because I'll do my competitive race and then I'll come and run another lap.
There you go.
You guys.
For sure. So Kirsten, like with all these fitness things you have going on, and then you have your like work life. So how do you integrate this, like these amazing feelings? Has it changed your work and personal life with all these wonderful things that happen and like the challenges and like everything that has to do with your fitness? Does it integrate into your just like everyday life when it comes to work, how you deal with engineering and what you do in that world? I mean, is not easy. And so has this given you a lot more confidence? Has it like made you a harder worker? Has it like changed you in a personal life with all these like amazing things that you've done in your fitness life.
Yeah, definitely. Because I think I found out pretty early that just going to a corporate job every day is just not who I am. Like I always need that other side of me, that need nurturing, that fitness side, the active side, the traveling. And
Yeah.
fortunately, over the years, I've been able to build a career where that fits in. I have a job where I can flexibly like work from home, or to some extent have flexible hours. I have a really great team of coworkers, and who like they know what I'm doing. They know that I like to be active and accept that. And so that took a while to find that sort of job and career where that all sort of fits together. I've tried both ways. I've tried to, just do a regular job and just do a little bit in the gym. I wasn't happy. I've completely quit my job. I tried to just be a personal trainer, and it was really hard to make ends meet, and and didn't like that either. And now I feel like I found a good like way to fuse it all together. And yeah, that's definitely change. Sometimes I feel like the way I communicate with people, and sometimes I have to really switch. Like let's say if I taught a few classes in the gym and you're trying to be high energy, and then you go to the office, you can't come in. They're like, yeah, let's go, people. You have to like, okay, let's tone it down. But like just today, I was talking with somebody in the office who's started to follow me on Instagram, and he's always been commenting on like the fitness things I do, and like he just told me he just started going back to the gym like after not being active forever, and like that's just like little things I gotta try to get in one by one. Yeah,
I love that. Yeah. And you do have a great Instagram.
Yes, you do.
You're so good.
I feel like that's sort of
Very
like my little creative outlet. I mean, it's not super creative to make a reel, right? Everybody can do it, but like I think that's, like I said, I used to play music, I used to write songs, and that was like my creative outlet. And since I sort of stopped doing that, it's making little videos has always been like a fun thing, I guess.
So are you like good at karaoke? Is this what I'm hearing?
I'm not sure. I mean, I've actually never
okay, so a karaoke trip is happening too.
Yeah, I'm like, wait, but you said you were singing in a band, right?
Yeah, crazy, right?
So
I think we're taking this to Brando's, guys.
Do you do anything in music anymore?
No, unfortunately not. It's kind of sad.
No.
Like, I've tried to get back into it a few times, try to take another class or even just sit down at home with my guitar, but it just takes, I feel like I can't give it my full attention right now. At the time I was doing it, it was like the thing I was thinking about like all day long and doing it and rehearsing. And when that kind of fell apart, it's just like, it's kind of went away. And maybe one day, you never know, maybe I get back to it. But right now, with all the racing and all the coaching, it's just not, there's just no time.
I hear that. Yeah, there's only so many times in the day, so you got to fill it with some things that pay the bills, and other things that bring you passion. Which obviously you have a huge passion for really anything fitness related, and it just obviously oozes out of you, when you coach, because obviously I've taken classes by you, I've worked out with you. It's like always a pleasure, to be in the gym with you. Yeah. And I like to see you in your hot shorts and, flexing here in your tank tops. Like hey.
I get so warm. That's the reason.
When Kirsten's feeling herself, when she like walks in with just like, you're like, oh, I see so much skin. And it's like, she's feeling herself today. She's going to do a strong workout.
She looks good. She's strong. She's strong.
I work hard enough for it.
I love it. Yes. Own it, girl. Own it.
And that's also coming from a sport like stand up paddleboarding, where most of the time you are in a swimsuit. So like to me, it's just like so normal to like, be comfortable.
Good. I was track sprinter. We literally had like Spankies on, so I get it. And you were a bodybuilder, so
I mean, I just like to be naked, pretty much. So it's fine.
It's like
I'm just comfortable. It's fine.
Yeah,
it's fine. It's fine. So Kirsten, my final question for you, and you said this too, when you're talking about doing your 100 laches a month. What would you say to a woman who thinks that her life is like stagnant, or, you know, when you hit 40, it's like this, when you hit 45, it's that, when you hit 50, it's that, like, I'll be 40 this year. Like, what would you say to a woman that is kind of like dreading, right, those ages, and just kind of thinking that like the best days are behind her?
I mean, that's a tough one, and it's something I'm still trying to figure out. But in the end, you still have so much life ahead of you that, like, why would you like stop now, like doing the things you love? And I remember when I was in my 30s, I thought I was old. You know, now I'm looking back, I'm like, are you kidding me? And I'm sure the same will happen when I'm in my 50s. Like, why would I like waste time on like dwelling on it now? You know, and it's always perspective in a way. And I know I'm the fittest I've been in my life, and I know I'm not done yet. And I'm more focused now than I was in my 20s. And so I think you have a better mindset as you get older. That's definitely a plus. Like in your 40s, you just cut out a lot of the bullshit. You know, just a lot of, you know, you just things you just don't deal with anymore. Like people you don't want to deal with, situations you don't want to get yourself into, and like just you kind of know what works for you a little bit better and what doesn't. And so that's actually the plus. And if you can keep your body healthy and fit while you have that mindset, like, I mean, what can get better?
Have fun with it.
Right.
You're just like, it doesn't always have to be like work and like punishing ourselves. Like having fun is like huge with it.
Yeah. I always tell people, find something that you enjoy. It's not ninja for everyone. It's not paddleboarding for everyone. Like anything, you know, might be just walking your dog. Like just start there.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for joining us and giving us a little info about your life as a SUP racer and a coach. And I will, not sure when I'll see you, but I'm sure I will see you in the gym very soon.
Pretty soon. Okay, absolutely.
Enjoy, and good luck in your competition this weekend.
Yeah, well, you will hear all about it on
Yes,
Instagram.
good luck.
Yeah,
we watching the gram.
All right.
Bye.
See you later. Bye.
Oh, that was so fun.
It was so fun. She's the cutest. I love her.
She really is. And yes, you know, and part of the too of, you know, when I'm thinking about guests and people that I want, it's not just her of, you know, her coaching or competing. It's the mindset, right? It's that like, I'm 46 and I'm the fittest I've ever been.
I love it. I love it. I know.
You know, and it's like, like so many women, it's like, cause you know, I'll be 40 this year, and no one that I work with like thinks I'm anywhere close to that age, right? Because it's like, well, you do all this, you do all that, and it's like, like fitness doesn't stop just because you hit a certain age. Like
enjoying life should never stop, and it's fitness. It's all the things. So fitness is an aspect of it, but it just it goes beyond, because fitness, I think people are like, I got to go to the gym, and like they're just like so negative about it. Like, oh, I got to work out, but like dancing, going out for walking, like just going for a walk. Like, there's so many things that like you can enjoy that doesn't have to be being in the gym working on equipment. And I think that's, you know, what we find in ninja. It's like being on a playground every single morning.
The floor is lava.
Seriously.
Deal with it. When we're going to do a different variation of the floor is lava all the way around the gym.
I get to swing and
yeah, and I tell the guys that, because you know I work out at Quad's gym for my
I love Quad's is quite a gym. Oh,
it's great, but I'll tell the guys like, because I have to do strength days, right? Where I'm just doing, and I'm like, I'm doing a boring strength day, and they're like, that's all we do. I'm like, so boring. I'm just like doing this, like, cause like I can't do high intensity circuits all the time, right? I can't go balls out. I have to mix it up, so I have to do, you know, these boring things, and I'm like, but I know like I have to do this so then I can go do that and do all the fun stuff. But it's like if you're not having fun, man, let's be a kid, man. Be out there, swing around. And I'll tell you one thing too about like competition stuff is it's like, oh, I turned 40 this year. I get to go up in an age category, and now I'm the youngest in my age group. I'm not the oldest anymore.
When I went up to the age group, when I went into masters, when I was competing, because I turned whatever age. This is 2023. So I turned
2024.
42 last year.
Yeah.
And like I see, I was like, how do you forget how old you are? Now I'm just like, yeah, I don't care. So when I turned 42, I was just like, or when I turned 40 to compete a couple years ago, I was like, I get to be in masters, and then I get to be in like ultra masters or whatever. And the next time I compete will be in like 3-4 years. And like, I was like, oh, this is great. And as to what Kirsten said, is like, I knew in my 20s that my 20s and 30s were going to be fun. I was going to fuck up. I was going to do the things. I was young. I could like go out all night and still feel good coming home. I knew at some point, like, my body was just going to be like, girl, woman, can you stop? And like, because I'm not as experienced, I don't do it every weekend. My body's like, yeah, you can't do this every weekend. So now it's just like, all right, so I got to tame it down. And, but still all these other things that are like fun for me, which like you said, with the fitness, it's like, I'm still going to do them and I'm still going to feel good. And this is what keeps us young, because it's not a chore. I'm choosing to be, oh, look at the cat butt in your face. I love that.
Zorro's coming to say hi.
Oh, Zorro.
My boy.
Love it. He's great. So yeah, it's like, just like you said, like, this is not punishment. We're not punishing, but we find this joy in the things that we're doing. And this is going to keep us just like thriving.
Yeah. It's, there was parts of me that were like, obviously when I came right out of college, I was super athletic, super fast, right? Young. And I'm like, man, like if OCR was a sport back then, if ninja had been there, like, man, like if I could have gotten into one of these, sports at my peak, like how good could I have been? But then it's also like the flip side of it is like, damn, look at me. Like I'm 39 years old. Like, I still look good, damn it.
Damn, yes, you do.
I still post bikini pictures on Instagram. You know what I mean? It's like I still wear mini dresses. I can still wear clothes that I wore like legit in college. I don't get rid of clothes because they don't fit. I get rid of clothes that don't like them anymore. Like, and it's like, if I, tell my college self that I think I look better now than I did in my college years.
Yeah.
Like, it's kind of gangster, to be honest.
I agree.
Like, shit, like I'm glad I didn't peak. You know what I mean? You don't want to peak in your 20s. Like there is different types of peaking,
Yes. Well, I always laugh because I remember being like from like 14 to 20, everyone thought I was like older. And I was like, yeah, this is great. I'm older. And then I was like, in my head at like 20 something, I was like, this is going to bite me in the ass because I don't want people thinking I'm older when I'm not. And now we've kind of like Benjamin buttoned it a little bit.
Right?
But it's literally because I had someone ask me on Saturday night, someone I hadn't seen in a while, and they were just like, so what's the secret? Like, how do you, like, whatever, how do you still look like, what I saw you like 6-7 years ago? And I was like, dude, I literally enjoy. I mean, and not everyone has the ability to like love their job. Like we all have our things. Sure. I seriously, I adore what I do every day. I love that. I insist on having fun at some point every day. I dance every day. I dance every day. I've really just started working a lot more on like my eating habits, my like not working out and grinding. Like I don't grind anymore. The whole like grind every day, like not so much. My grinding every day might be sleeping in. My grinding every day might be just taking some time. My grinding every day is a completely different thing than just like being at the gym, lifting, like doing all these things that is exhausting me. Like when we get to, like, for me, it's just like, I know my body needs rest because I'm giving energy every day. So rest, fun, and fun looks different. Fun is sitting watching Netflix sometimes, but fun is also going to a club and listening to like the till 3 a.m. It just depends where my energy's at.
Yeah, but could they turn the volume down just a tad?
I have my mufflers in my ear.
Right.
Like,
is there a place I can sit down in between?
Oh, That's the thing too. I know I'm old because I'm like, I will only go to this show if I'm sitting in the VIP at a table, and people are like,
yeah,
girl,
like
and I'm like,
I
wait
don't
a
need to sit the
second,
whole time, but I need to know there's a place that I can sit.
and put my coat because I am not going in that bitch without like clothes on.
No, what's wrong with people? I need to put my coat somewhere. I need to wear a full jacket. I swear. Yeah, these things that we used to do. Oh my God. Why?
And that's where we're at.
That's where
But this
we're
is
at.
what keeps me young. Having a coat at the club, place to put my coat, for sure.
Honestly, yeah. And you know what? I tell people, like, look, I've never smoked. I wear sunscreen, even though I got skin cancer. I still wear sunscreen. I moisturize and I drink water. That's why my face looks young.
Good for you.
You know,
that's awesome.
I take my makeup off every single day. I wash my face twice a day, every single day. I put other stuff on it, but the main thing is,
honey,
my skincare
that's like
routine
amazing. I did not start washing my face every day till like 3 weeks ago. And I like would not, yeah. So everything that you just said, except for the water, like, and like a couple other things, like completely opposite. I never wear sunscreen. I go tanning.
No, it's terrible for you.
I don't sleep great. But look at, like, you're also very much, we're completely different. But I'm not like saying these are great things that I do, but like, yeah.
Everyone has
everyone's
thing.
different.
But
good for you because your skin is on point. Like, yeah, you're like baby skin. So that's what.
Because I get like hormonal acne if I don't take care of everything. I'm like, oh yeah, I still get pimples when I'm like 40. Yeah. So, but then
I get the one on the cheek that hurts.
Because of that, I am very like into like going to my dermatologist. I do all this, and so yeah, it is. So it does help me. And because of like acne medications, one of them contains a retinol. So I've been using retinol for like 20 years.
That makes a big difference for sure.
You know,
I do.
Bam.
Wow.
And that's what my secrets are. And also, I don't have any children.
That's the number one. All these things we named. So everybody, yes, we have just named 5, but we don't have kids and we have cats. So and animals. We have animals.
My dog is somewhere around. My cat's already shown his butt today. But you know what? It was not and I'm sure we'll have an episode where we get all into this, but
we will. Self-care, all the things.
All that, but also just like, I don't want, you know what I mean? It's like, it was a choice that I made. Exactly. So it is, but I'm selfish. I have chosen.
Future episode. I was thinking about that. So yes, we were going to circle around and we will be talking about
definitely the women, the child-free women that put themselves first. Are we selfish? Yes or no?
Yeah.
We are. And I'll tell you what, this year though, at Christmas, my mom was like, man, she's like, I'm tired. She's like, there's a lot. It's like, I'm glad there aren't any children running around. She's like, I'm glad we don't have to worry about any. She's like, I love that we could just take you and your sister to Europe on a vacation. We just have adults.
Perfect.
It makes everything so much easier for everyone. Completely different episode for a different day.
Yes, girl. Can't wait for that one. That's gonna be a fun one.
Oh yeah, we gotta plan that one.
It's gonna be so fun.
But I think, tonight we should wrap up on our girl Kirsten, talking about women with fitness over 40, doing all the trying new things, right? I mean, and that's like a huge part of her stuff is just like, oh yeah, I saw it. It looked interesting. So I signed up.
And then someone said I was going to be good at it. So I kept doing it.
And I tried it. And I think that should be our takeaway from today.
I think so. Yeah. Go out and try new things, people. Even if you don't think you're going to like it, go do it. Go be adventurous.
Do it.
Today's lesson. Go do something new.
And on that note,
this has been a Chicago Clubhouse Network production.
Bye.
Bye.